Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to the Frostbite tribe. In the last episode, our tribe finally made it over to the Killer Island, but the nice grassy ports that they left on turned out to be a big lie. Now we have found ourselves right in the middle of this giant desert, so food has been pretty scarce for the past couple of days. Our creatures have actually taken a ton of damage just from starvation. They take 3 days off of their lifespan every single time they end up starving, and poor little Blizzard has seen the worst of it because he used so much of his own food to make sure that his queen could still eat. We have been trying desperately to catch the attention of our balanced sisters, Quicksand and Seafoam, so we could possibly get a baby with the nimble fingers. We need somebody to collect all of these shells in the water because that would be an excellent way to make sure that we have enough food to eat. And thankfully, Stag was just the savior that we needed. He has the nimble fingers, and he also has the digging trunk in his genetics still. That's actually why I chose the nimble fingers over the cracker jaw, because I'm a little bit worried about erasing that from our lines. Heart thankfully managed to inherit the digging trunk in full, so if he can find some tasty roots to gather up, then he'll also be able to get us a whole bunch of food. He might actually want to travel along with Topaz, since she also has the little digging paw. He would definitely be the one who would need to scoop up those tasty roots though, if we could only find them. I think he does have a quite high sense of smell too, thanks to that trunk. A 3 in smelling, which should be a little bit better than the derp snout. Yeah, so they could make quite the team together if we can move him into the grass. He is just old enough with his 2 gems that we don't have to worry about him just in case one of the birds does come swooping through our skies. We've been pretty lucky with that so far, but I wouldn't be surprised to see one spawn within the next few days. Especially as more babies are born, because of course we do want to make sure that our Queen Lavender can have at least 1 baby before she passes away. She is getting so very close because she was actually taking quite a bit of damage from the leeches. I was hoping that maybe we could find a fish in the water down here just from the extra food, because if we can find 1 more piece of food somewhere on this island, then we won't have to worry about anybody starving. Oh, there's a nice tasty root, but I don't think we're going to be able to get to it. Oh no, because unfortunately Topaz doesn't have that extra turn to dig it up once we get her to the shore, and I don't think we want to stick her into the river, right? She would end up drowning overnight. Still though, that might be less damage than if she ended up starving, so maybe we should scoot her right in here and dig up the root, and we'll just keep a very, very close eye on her. She might actually be okay because it looks like her little nose is just barely above the water, so fingers crossed she's going to be fine. And that means that we can technically successfully have a baby without worrying about it starving in the process. So why don't we have Lavender breed with Blizzard? They were going to have a baby because of course they have completely different immunity genes, so they would be a very, very healthy pairing, and because they both have those big spiky claws, so this would be a continuation of our warrior line. I am, however, going to leave the nimble fingers in the mutation menu simply because I don't feel like that's going to hurt us if their babies do end up inheriting that, and I also want to place the big ears in here. I didn't know that we actually had these unlocked. I thought we had to look through a couple more of these desert tiles first, but that would be excellent for us because not only will it give us some heat resistance, and I mean since we are in a desert, I would imagine pretty soon we are going to need some form of heat resistance, but they are also absolutely adorable and we haven't seen the big ears in a very, very long time. So hopefully one of the new babies that we see today will inherit the big ears too. But let's move you a little bit further down the stream if we can, just in case we run into any more fish along the way. Blizzard could actually scoot ahead of you because he is also pretty darn good at fishing with his 2 giant claws. So far I don't see any of those kelp patches though, and none of the big fish either. This would be a great place to go fishing though, because it seems like we could trap the fish pretty easily. Much more so than when Lavender was fishing all on her own in the ocean at least. She was the only one out there, so she had quite a hard time trying to pin them down. And oh no, we're actually out of nesting material. Okay, so I think we're going to have to go over here and make sure that we scoop up this nest. The nest that Stag was born in, just for now. We'll make sure that we build another one later, but we do need that for our queen. So we'll gather that up and then we'll build a nest right over here by the stream. And who knows, maybe the Balanced Sisters will be just as impressed with that little nest as they were for Stags. Now until Stag grows up a little bit, food is still going to be pretty scarce for these guys, so let's move Thorn a little bit closer to his baby just in case we see any more carnivores too. I mean honestly, that would be a pretty ideal situation to find more carnivores out here somewhere, just because we know it gives us quite a bit of food. I do see so many cactus plants though. If we had more creatures who could actually pick from them, then that would probably be a good thing. They would get pretty hurt in the process, but at least we would have the food. We might try to swipe at a couple of them just to see what happens too. Since we have so many creatures with the double claws, it might be a good investment of our time. But let's scoot over here to make sure that Topaz is going to be okay, of course, and to see what our very first queen's baby is going to be on this island. Oh my gosh! Twins? Really? We got twins in the nest and they look exactly the same too. Oh my goodness, how perfect is that? Well, maybe not perfect because now we have an extra mouth to feed too, but on the plus side, Topaz was perfectly fine, so it seems like she'll be able to swim along the stream if she needs to find more food. But oh my goodness, two little twins in the nest. They're absolutely adorable too. They have the double claws, so they're going to be very, very strong. That's good to see. But they just have the regular medium ears, so no big giant bunny ears for this group. I think we'll name these two Shiver and Frost, to of course remember our frosty warrior line from the mountain and just the mountain in general. Even though the desert is not going to be quite as cold as the mountain was, I'm sure their parents would still pass down those stories, all of the hardships that they went through so that they won't be forgotten. But now, if food was scarce before, it is certainly going to be scarce now. At least we can pick up our berries because it did start to rain in the last episode too, so Doe can pick up a couple of those. That's only 2 though, and unfortunately Stag is just a little bit too young to pick up some more. So maybe we'll have to see if Topaz can grab some berries from any of those cactus plants. If she can get over to one, we might have to have Blizzard scoot over this way just to reveal it for us. Now, if he swipes it up, I'm a little bit concerned that he's going to end up passing away because he doesn't have much life left on him as it is. So let's scoot Topaz over here, and I guess you're going to be our little guinea pig, Topaz. We're going to see exactly how much life this takes off of you when you pick from the cactus plant. As far as I know, there's still no way to safely pick these berries, but let's see what happens. Oh, poor Topaz. Desperate times call for a desperate measures, though. It takes 2 days off of their lifespan when they pick from the cactus bush. Oh my goodness. So thankfully she doesn't have hemophilia and she's not hurt either, so she won't have to worry about bleeding out on the next turn. But we're going to have to, I guess, make a line of creatures who are just going to pick from these berry bushes, or not berry bushes, the cactus plants rather. It'll be a very important job, but it's also going to be a very harsh one because of course these creatures won't be lasting very long. That's still only 4 pieces of food though, so it's not going to be enough for us to actually survive on. So why don't we make sure that some of our newest generations are going to be kept safe? Lavender is going to be passing away on this turn anyways, so we'll move her back to a beta. And then let's make sure, first and foremost, that little Stag is moved up to an alpha because he is the top priority right now with his nimble fingers. That also means that Lavender and Blizzard won't be having another baby on this turn, but I mean, it's particularly fitting because they did have twins, so it's almost like they had 2 babies anyway. So why don't we use Blizzard's turn to actually chop away at this cactus plant to also investigate what that would do to his lifespan. So he has 4 days remaining right now. Let's have him go ahead and swipe at that, and yeah, that takes off 2 days worth of his lifespan as well, but it does give us enough food to survive. That being said though, it does not look like there's anything left behind for the cactus plant to grow back, so that is one source of food completely removed from the island. So I don't think we're going to be chopping down too many of these cactus plants in the future, just because, I mean, at least somebody could pick from them. At least the berries will keep growing back if we really need to quickly grab some emergency food. Now, poor sweet little Heart is still looking for those tasty roots, so why don't we actually move you this way? We'll see if we can find anything over on this side of the island. I would also hopefully like him to meet up with Topaz anyway, just to potentially have another baby, since yet again their immunity genes line up perfectly, and then maybe we could craft this little digging line with them together so that they can find all of the tasty roots on the island. It definitely seems like we're not going to find as many roots here as we would in the grasslands or even the mountains, but that is understandable. It is a very barren place, much more so than I was expecting when we landed on these green tiles. Doe and Thorn still have a little bit of time left on their lifespans as well to potentially have another baby if we can find more sources of food. So for now, just pick up some of this grass so we can hopefully gather up some of that nesting material, since we definitely need more of that. And then why don't we see if Lavender can find any fish? This is going to be her very last chance, so we'll bring Blizzard over to his babies to keep them safe, and then we'll have Lavender move her way out of the nest to see if she can find anything in the water. No, it looks so bare over here. If there is a tiny little patch of a kelp in this tile, then we might have fish in the water, but otherwise I think it's a completely barren stream. Now I think that's all the safe moves that we can make because I don't want to move poor little Stag, our savior, into the water in case it drowns him. So let's go ahead and skip the day and see if any carnivores, yes, are going to stumble out. Excellent. Oh my goodness, Blizzard, Father Blizzard, this is your chance to show your stuff. You can poison the carnivore, you can slap him with your big claws, and show your children, your two tiny children, exactly how a warrior's job is done. Perfect too, because it's his very last day here, so at least he was able to train them before he passed away. Now you guys might as well take on the blue gems for now. We might of course crown them both as queens of the island along with Stag, since he's also so important. I wanted to change their gems over to orange actually. Since they have been touched by the Balance Sisters, I thought that would be nice to give them the exact same sandy orange gems that Quicksand and Seafoam were born with. Now Stag, I think you can finally jump down here and grab one of these shells. Oh my goodness, we're finally starting to increase our food supplies. It's finally working, guys. Doe can go ahead and gather up all of those tasty berries. I just noticed too that her eyes are very similar to the color of the berries, so that's quite fitting. Thankfully, Shiver and Frost should be growing up on the next turn, so they should be just fine even when their father passes away. And instead we can bring Topaz a little bit further down this grassy path to see if she can sniff out any of those roots. Yes, okay. So if we bring a Heart up there, then he should be able to dig that up for us on the next turn too, and then we'll have a whole bunch of roots to eat. He can share them with Topaz actually, and then maybe they can start their family, their little family of root digging creatures. Let's bring a Thorn up here for the nesting material again, and I'm pretty sure that these little green patches of grass that I mistook for the grasslands tiles are actually just pieces that grow back, right? I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's what they are. So it's not grasslands tiles, unfortunately. We're not going to find any berry bushes hidden away out here in the desert, but at least we know that that's where we can gather up all of the grass that keeps growing back. Now that's the end of this turn, so unfortunately we're also going to have to say goodbye to Blizzard on this next day. It is really unfortunate that this generation is just passing away so quickly, but at least he can rest easy knowing that he has passed some very valuable information onto his children. So we'll change their second gems over to blue as well, and then we probably want to sniff around a little bit. Oh my goodness. Oh no, of all the times. I think that's a wandering male, right? One of those rogue males. So maybe a Heart, you could breed with Topaz right now because we certainly don't need the extra no paws. Oh, look at that. He even has the melanism trait. Yeah, look at this guy. He has the medium body. He has the crippled paws like usual. He has the webbed hind legs hidden away in his genetics. Though he does have Immunigene C. I don't think we have that yet, so I mean, if we absolutely had to, at least we know that we could still breed with some of the rogue males. But that breeding didn't even work, so let's try one more time, hopefully. Oh no, I think he got to her first. Oh my goodness, okay. Okay, so let's chase this guy off at least. It was definitely not in the plan, so Shiver can jump over here and scare him in the other direction, and then we'll make sure that Frost gathers up the nest too, because we are going to need that for one of our families in the future. I mean, honestly, I guess it's going to be you, Topaz, because we do still want Heart to have a baby too. I guess they have really low fertility? I mean, no, it's not that low in all honesty. Heart has the highest fertility that you can have, and a Topaz just has one little slot of normal fertility, so I don't know, I guess they were just particularly unlucky. But let's have Heart dig up his roots so we can at least have the extra food, and then we'll plop down a nest right here next to this cactus plant, and I guess just pick up some of the grass around it too. We do need to start clearing out the grass if we have more food to work with. Now Doe can pick at least one of her berries, and then we want to see if we can find any more shells from Stag to pick up. He has one right over here that he can snag, and then he has another right down the shore too. Oh, Stag, you are doing so good finding food for us. and I'm pretty sure that his genetics line up well with our twins back here, Shiver and Frost. Yeah, looks like they have completely different immunity genes, so we have yet another pairing that we can use in the future as all of these other generations start passing away. Let's make sure that Doe and Thorn have the chance to breed again too, since he only has a couple days remaining on his lifespan, and then we'll bring him down here to scout out some more shells for his son maybe. If he can find any way down here, there's one way down here in the deep water. We'll want to be careful as we're picking that one up. Now I guess we might as well keep the nimble fingers in the mutation menu, since if we're going to mutate something over the no paws that the rogue male had, then we might as well have the nimble fingers pop up on our babies. Stag is going to need a little bit of help collecting all of this food after all. He can't do it all by himself, so cross your fingers that hopefully this one doesn't have the crippled paw. Oh my goodness, and here come the carnivores too. This might be a little bit tougher because unfortunately our two twins only have 2 turns apiece, and it is right next to our baby as well. Unfortunately, she has the crippled paw, so that didn't work out so well, but she also has the hammertail in her genetics. That's good to see. Now, Hart, I think you're going to have to use your turns to chip away a little bit at this carnivore. He does have some pretty high attack strength, so he should be able to do a good amount of damage. Now the carnivore has 7 days remaining on its lifespan, so can we get these babies around all of this grass? Yeah, that is the only drawback to leaving so much grass in the area. In all honesty though, I think our mother Topaz might be able to take out the carnivore all by herself, so let's have her use up all of her turns to swipe away at this guy, and there we go, another giant pile of carnivore meat. So that is clearly our main source of food at the moment, and I am very glad that Animeme has been so kind to us and spawned so many of those carnivores in the grass. But that leaves Hart with one last day to have a baby with Topaz because she has 2 days remaining on her lifespan. So if we could bring Shiver over here to pick up this nest, then we could make sure that Doe can have her baby right next to all of her berries. We'll want her to pick her berries and then scoot down to the shore because this is where we want the Balance sisters to notice their babies. Oh shoot, we're missing 1 piece of nesting material. So maybe Thorn can use his last turns to gather up something for his mate. Hopefully, there we go. 1 last piece of nesting material so you can build your nest on the shores, and then Stag can come down here and pick up the shells too. So Stag is going to be able to watch after his newest little brother or sister as soon as they're born. Now Thorn, on your very last turn, let's see, is there anything that you could possibly find for us? Oh my goodness, this is not good. You are still lurking in the area. Well, why don't we at least poison you? We'll hit you with all of our big strong claws and our ram horns and our poison, so he is not going to be bothering us for very much longer. We'll send him running off into the grass because his babies weren't very lucky. I guess all we can really have you do is pick up some of this grass for us too, and then we'll come over here and turn our attentions to your very last little baby. So the mutation menu is still set up correctly. We have the nimble fingers in the 30% slot and the pig ears in the 10% slot. I'm still hoping that one of these babies is going to be born with those big gigantic ears. Oh my goodness, it's raining again? How perfect is this, that every single time we get a nimble-fingered baby, it starts to rain, and she's so cute too. Oh my gosh, she has the Megaloceros horns in her genetics, so yet again, another chance for us to pull that out in the future. And she also has the same yellow eyes that her brother Stag inherited too. So it seems like the yellow eyes are a little bit more lucky for our Balanced sisters for some reason. But yeah, poor little Thorn. Poor Thorn ended up passing away, and I did hear somebody else get hurt too. It was probably just this guy, right? Yeah, he has like 1 day remaining on his lifespan. You get out of here, okay? Now, why don't we go ahead and name this sweet little baby Deer so that she'll be able to travel right alongside her brother Stag and they can pick up all of the shells in the water. Unfortunately, it looks like some of them have disappeared, so we'll have to see if they can spy out some more in the waves. Another thing I've noticed though is that we haven't actually seen any crabbits in the water. So I wonder if even the crabbits are not interested in partaking in the Killer Island. But Stag can come over here at least and pick up this shell for us. That's pretty good. Oh, and then look at all of those shells too. Okay, so we have plenty of food for a stag to gather right by these very, very mischievous ports. The ports that tricked us into thinking that this would be a grasslands biome. Let's have Doe scoot over here to pick up her berries. We have 16 pieces of food, so just enough to last us for 2 more days. Now you guys, let's make sure that you can breed too before Topaz passes. Though when we don't exactly have enough nesting material, oh no, did I mess that up? I think I may have messed that up because I forgot to gather up the nest under deer. Well, at least she was able to have one baby, even if it was from a very unfortunate circumstance. And that means that we're not losing the hammertail after all. So maybe we can still use this little baby to pull it out of her genetics. And let's name her too. Since her father did have that very, very dark fur, we'll name her Onyx. In memory of him, I suppose, despite the fact that we were not too impressed with that guy. Hopefully he is not going to come back either. I think on the next turn, Shiver and Frost should be growing up, so since we have poisoned him, I think he will be passing away somewhere off in the grass. It looks like Heart's genetics also line up very, very well with our twins, so you guys are quite lucky, aren't you? You're going to be able to repopulate this island as so many of our older generation is already passing away. But let's see if we can find any more of those tasty roots for him to dig up. We'll keep making our pathways because we certainly need a little bit more room to work with here, and then you can jump all the way back here and start sniffing around in some uncharted territory. There we go. Not only do I see a tasty root, but I also see another one of those shriveled up berry bushes, so that will be incredibly helpful for us. Let's start moving him a little bit deeper into the grass. Wait a second. Oh my goodness, he got to Topaz again. Well, we're not going to have that baby, but clearly these two like each other a little bit more than we thought that they did. I guess she found something very, very mysterious in this melanistic male, despite all of his flaws. But all we have left to do is scoot Heart right up this way, and then we should be seeing that rogue male pass away as we skip the turn, as well as, of course, poor little Topaz. And then our 2 little twins are fully grown, so they can take on their final blue gems, and then hopefully we can start their family as well with Heart and Stag. I definitely want to make sure that they meet up with Stag at some point because his genetics are very, very important. And even little Deer, she has immunity genes A and F, so I'm sure we can find her somebody to breed with, right? Hopefully Heart will be able to have a baby without that immunity gene A, and then we can really solidify the nimble fingers as a good trait in our tribe. It has already helped us out immensely with little Stag. He can pick up all of these shells in the water again and give us a nice big bounty of food as his mother goes and collects some of her very final berries as well. We're going to have to make sure that somebody stays right here anyway just to pick up the berries because we don't want to lose track of any of our food sources. We have so few of them that all of them are incredibly precious. This next generation might be the very first one to not have to worry about starvation though, as long as we keep up on our food. So Heart can go ahead and gather up that one little root that was in the back, and then I think in the next episode we might want to start breeding our 2 twins. We'll keep the warrior line strong as well as our collecting line way over by the shores, and then hopefully we can say that we have actually conquered this killer island. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!